Quick question, Aaron. What if I told you one of these tools just hit $1 billion valuation today?
A billion in short-term rental software.
That's right, you heard it. In short-term rental software. And that's not even the wildest thing we're covering today.
Yep, you're right. We're going deep into three of the platforms that are basically, in my opinion, rewriting how STR operators are running their business right now. HostAway, Guesty, PriceLabs, these aren't just tools anymore. They're becoming the operating system underneath the entire industry.
Correct. And here's the thing. Most hosts are still picking tools based on what somebody in a Facebook group recommended them, to do a few years back. And that's like buying a car based on last year's review. The landscape changes and it changes fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think by the end of this episode, you're going to know, exactly what these platforms do, who they're built for, and what they actually cost, including, what they don't put on the website, and most importantly, how each one plays into the direct booking strategy for hosts. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so with that being said, welcome back everyone to the Direct Bookme podcast. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Aaron, and today we're doing something we've been building towards for a while, and I'm pretty excited about a full tech stack breakdown. Three platforms, one episode, zero fluff.
Yep, and here's why this matters as of now. I mean, AI adoption among the STR operators has reached 61% last year in 2025. That number was 52% the year previously. And the whole industry is in this shift. And the platforms we're talking about today are sitting right at the center of it.
Yeah, it's not abstract anymore. This isn't the old message of AI is coming. It's already here. It's already inside the tools you're using or looking at, whether you're thinking about automated guest messaging, dynamic pricing decisions, listing optimization. It's all happening without you touching a button. And so the question really is whether you're benefiting from it or you're letting your competition benefit from it.
Correct. So we're going to cover each platform in depth. I'm talking HostAway, Guesty, and PriceLabs. What they each do, how much does it cost, who they best serve, and where direct bookings fit into each picture. We got a lot to get through, so let's get going.
Awesome. Yeah, and before we get into the actual platforms themselves, let's kind of set the stage because the context here I think is everything.
Yeah, the global short-term rental market in 2026, it's projected somewhere around 150 to close to $200 billion. So growing at a rate of about 12% a year. So the short-term rental software market is sitting inside what's estimated at a 300 to 500 million, and it's growing fast.
Yeah, just crazy. There's obviously serious money flowing into these platforms, and I think that explains why you're seeing these insane funding rounds. But the reason operators care, like we don't care as much about the valuations, it's what the money is building for us.
Right, and because the capital is going into AI, right? We all hear AI all the time, and the numbers on adoption are striking. Hostaway ran a survey and found about 84% of the operators had adopted some form of AI in their operation, and then another survey put it at close to 60. The methodology matters, the respondents matter, but the direction is the same either way. This is mainstream right now.
Yeah, and so I think the big question is what are operators actually using AI for? And I think from what I've heard, it's really three big areas. And the first one is dynamic pricing. I think what we saw was 62% of operators are using it for dynamic pricing. The second being automated guest communication, where about 60% of AI suggested replies are going out without any human touch whatsoever. And then lastly, listing optimization, getting your titles, descriptions, and photos right to actually convert as well.
Yeah, and the return of all this is measurable. I mean, operators are using AI report and it's saving close to 5 hours every week and reducing operational costs by 20%. That's nothing. That's a part-time employee for a small portfolio.
Yeah, no, if I can reduce operational costs by 22%, sign me up. Like, however we have to do that. So I think
Yeah.
there's one thing, though, that here's the pain point piece that makes all of this feel urgent. A survey that we looked at with 320 operators across 51 countries ranked their biggest challenges. And the number one thing on there was property maintenance. And fine, that'll always be there. But the number two was rising competition. 76% of operators said they feel more competitive pressure. And then number three, inflation and cost was big on the minds for folks. 40% called the economic impact severe right now. And number four is the one I find most interesting for our conversation here, and that's technology integration complexity. 45% of operators said they struggle to consolidate their tools, which I get. There's a ton out there, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, there is a lot to pick from, and that's exactly what's driving the consolidation we're seeing in the market now. I mean, HostAway and Guesty are both trying to be the one platform you don't have to leave. And PriceLabs is betting that being the best at one thing, pricing, is more valuable than being okay at everything. It's good to be, really good at one thing or okay at a few things. So it's there for the choosing.
Yeah, definitely. Pricing feels like always the big one we come back to. So, one more number before we get into the platforms themselves. Dynamic pricing users outperform static pricing users by 10 to 40%, but only 27% of hosts are using professional pricing tools, and it feels like that gap is enormous. And it's the core argument, I think, for everything that we're covering today.
Yeah, definitely. That is a huge gap that exists. But all right, let's talk HostAway.
Yeah, so HostAway, October 2025, they hit a $1 billion valuation, billion with a B, and they're the first property management software company in the vacation rental space to ever reach that unicorn status.
Wow, the first ever in the whole category. That's impressive. Congrats to them.
Yeah, total funding at 543 million, including a 365 million round led by General Atlantic back in 2024. 20,000 property managers on their platform, which is no small feat. They're operating in 90 plus countries now, and they were named to G2's list of the 100 fastest growing software companies in 2025.
And this is a company that was founded in Helsinki, in Finland, in 2015 by Marcus Rader. One of the things that make a point of saying, and it's actually a competitive differentiator, is that 90% of their core technology was built in-house. They didn't acquire their way to this, and that matters for product cohesion.
100%. They know what they built. They know their product in and out, and that can be key. So what does HostAway actually do? I think at its core, it's all-in-one property management system and a channel manager. Whether you're thinking listings, calendars, guest communications, payments, reporting, marketing, it's one central hub for all of those things. And they hold preferred or elite partner status with Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, which means the integrations are tight and easy for the end user like us.
Yeah, the AI suite is where HostAway was really where they moved the needle. They launched AI auto reply back in August of last year. I'm talking
Yep.
fully autonomous guest messaging, and you can even optimize the tone,
Yep.
whether it's assertive, empathetic, formal, or a friendly voice to speak to you. So your brand voice is still there, and even when the AI is handling all the conversation.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how much AI can learn and change the tone and make it really seem like you and your business and how you represent yourself. The AI feature usage among HostAway customers tripled in early 2025, and so people are using it. And year over year, AI adoption on the platform was up 170%. So again, not a feature people are ignoring there. And even beyond their auto reply, they've got an AI review analyzer, an AI listing description optimizer, an AI powered dynamic pricing that reportedly delivers 20 to 25% average revenue gains per listing. So embedding it across their entire platform.
Yeah, it's definitely there. And I want to read something from their CEO Marcus. He said because it captures the direction of the whole industry. Adopting AI tools has become the norm in 2025, and it no longer is AI an optional add-on. It has been, and will increasingly be there. It's going to be embedded in your everyday workflow, and if you're leading the unicorn in the space, you're not saying that's a hyperbole. You're saying it's because that's what the data is showing you. You're doing it because that's the way to go.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's talk about pricing because this is where HostAway kind of gets complicated. They use what we call quote-based pricing. No number on the website. Third-party sources estimate it starts around $20 per listing per month for small portfolios. And there's three tiers to it. There's the starter, the professional, and the premium. But multiple reviewers have flagged hidden costs there, whether like it's percentage fees on the direct booking, it's premium add-ons for like the website builder and dynamic pricing changes. You need to read the contract carefully and really understand where those hidden fees can nickel and dime you.
Yeah, you definitely got to do that. But the user sentiment is strong though. 4.8 out of 5 on Capterra from 1,300 plus reviews. 4.7 on G2, and people love the unified inbox, the channel management reliability, and the onboarding. I saw that one reviewer said, and I'm paraphrasing here, they accomplished more in 3 weeks than in 2 years with their previous system. That's big. That's real testimonial.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful there. One that grips your attention when you're reading it for sure. Um, not to be pessimistic, but the complaints that come up consistently are pricing opacity, steep learning curve for smaller operators, occasional OTA sync issues that they're having, and a mobile app that's maybe not all the way up to par. But not deal breakers for most, but can be some real friction points when you're just trying to move through and process your day to day.
And now here's where HostAway plugs into the direct booking conversation, which is what we're about. It's very much our world. They offer a free one-page website builder on the standard plan and a premium booking website pro add-on that includes AI-powered SEO, a content assistant, and a smart marketing suite for email capture and lead generation. And it integrates with Google Vacation Rentals, coupon management for repeat guests, and they capture guest emails from direct bookings for remarketing. So some pretty handy tools in our space, the direct booking world.
Yep. But, and I always have to play devil's advocate here, and this is a big but. HostAway's own research shows the gap between tool availability and actual behavior. Nearly two-thirds of operators on the platform still generate less than 25% of bookings through direct channels. So the tools are there, but the execution just isn't happening yet. And that's a strategy problem, not really a software problem.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The tools are there. It's more of how, implementation and where to take them. And you're talking integrations and somewhere between 100 and 300, depending on what they're counting. But the important ones are there, and PriceLabs and beyond for pricing. Um, Speaking of Enso Connect and Do for guest experience, you've got Turno and Breezeway for cleaning, QuickBooks for accounting, Stripe and PayPal for payment collection. And then you got HostBuddy and Bestie AI for additional AI help. They're building an ecosystem. There's definitely a landscape out there for the operational side.
Yeah, absolutely. If you stop and think about, who HostAway is really built for, and I think their sweet spot is a mid-market property manager, probably somewhere between five to 500 plus listings. Somebody who is, a growth-oriented operator who want enterprise-grade tools without needing a whole full-scale IT department. And if you're scaling and you want one platform that handles most of the heavy lifting, HostAway is a serious contender there.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're pretty big and they've grown quickly and done a lot in the space. But let's move on and shift gears onto Guesty.
Yeah, Guesty. Let's talk about them a little bit. Guesty's been around and doing things a little longer than HostAway. They were founded in 2013 in Tel Aviv by twin brothers Amiad and Kobe Soto. Y Combinator backed. They didn't get to the unicorn headline, but they've been methodically building and what they're calling the industry's first intelligent property management platform. Kind of a bold claim, but we could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and speaking of the scale, it's pretty impressive. 410 million in total funding, including 130 million dollar Series F from KKR in April of 24. 250 engineers, the largest R&D team in the short-term rental software sector, with 500,000 plus properties across 100 plus countries. This is not a startup anymore. This is infrastructure. It's big.
Yep. Yeah, and they've built the biggest differentiator in the category from a trust standpoint, and that's the SOC2 certification. They're the only PMS in the sector who have it, and they're claiming 99.9% uptime for enterprise operators managing like hundreds of listing and someone else's money. Like that kind of uptime and that kind of reliability matters enormously.
Yeah, it definitely does. And the AI moment for Guesty came late last year in December. They launched what they called their AI agent for revenue management. And they described it as the first embedded intelligence layer that unifies pricing, availability, policies, and listing performance into a single actionable system. Not four different tools talking to each other, but one. That's impressive.
You know, yeah, and their CTO Gil Wasserman made what might be the boldest prediction in the industry right now. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, within the next couple years, the way property managers operate will be unrecognizable, and that's not marketing copy. That's a CTO with 250 engineers telling you where their roadmap is going.
Yeah, the it's definitely shifting. You just gotta, adjust and see where you can fit in. I mean, they shipped 300 plus features in 2025 alone. Reply AI Autopilot for fully autonomous guest messaging. A data co-pilot where you can ask performance questions in plain language and it gives you answers. A quality dashboard that delivered 10% higher quality scores and a 7% increase on five-star ratings over 8 months. And AI Reply is already being used by more than 40% of Guesty accounts, handling half of all incoming messages for heavy users. That's impressive adoption and speed.
Yeah, I feel like anywhere you turn today, you don't really know if you're talking to a human or an AI, but if it feels
I
like a
know.
human, then the experience it can be good for folks. So
Yeah.
pricing though, let's be real about this. Guesty is expensive. Guesty Lite, that's one to three listings. It's $27 per listing per month. Guesty Pro, the next level, is custom pricing for 4 to 199 listings, and it charges a percentage of booking revenue, typically between 2 and 5%, plus onboarding fees that have been reported to be over $1,000 in some cases. And then the core capabilities you actually want, the price optimizer, trust accounting, Guesty Pay, advanced analytics, the lock manager, all those are paid add-ons as well. So those things start to add up a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And one reviewer put it bluntly, the price is absolutely exorbitant, but the counterpoint is also in the reviews. Its robustness is unparalleled, and after 20 plus years in vacation rentals, Guesty stands out for companies operating at scale. There's a reason enterprise operators keep paying. The tools earn it for them, so there is some worth and some value to it.
Yeah, absolutely. People obviously see value in it. They're doing very well, so that the proof's in the pudding there. And then from a rating standpoint, I guess he's 4.5 on G2, 4.4 out of 5 on Capterra, 4.7 on Trustpilots. And so the positives that folks talk about there are the comprehensive feature set, their channel management reliability, the depth of booking management tools, and then there's some negatives on there as well. People talk a little bit around pricing complexity, a little bit of difficulty set up and a learning curve there, some slow performance at times, and some software bugs. And there's also some noted, integration awkwardness because Guesty grew partly through acquisitions. They absorbed Reynolds United, Stations, Kygo, MyVR. Some users describe it as multiple tools stitched together. And when you start stitching all that technology together, it doesn't always play nicely and can make for some friction and customer disruption.
Yeah, I got to learn how to play together in the sandbox, as they say.
Yep.
Um, but tying this into direct bookings, as far as Guesty goes, is actually pretty interesting, and it's underreported in my opinion. In 2023, they acquired a company called StaySense, and StaySense brought destination-focused booking technology to Guesty. Think sites like SmokyMountains.com and FloridaPanhandle.com, regional travel sites that convert content into bookings. That's a completely different angle on the OTA reduction and than just building a property website.
Yeah, and even beyond that, I guess it includes AI-powered website builder, a built-in booking engine with coupons and promotions, which are huge, a CRM with pipeline view for for the pro and enterprise tiers that they have, and Klaviyo integration for email marketing. So guest data across all channels flows into a unified profile, and this is real direct booking infrastructure. It's just expensive and complex to set up.
Yeah, the mystery of direct bookings, right? Sometimes can be a little complex, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But who is Guesty for? Who's ideal? Their customer, I would say, is a professional property manager with 50 or more listings, who needs enterprise grade financial tools, especially trust accounting. If you're managing properties for multiple owners and you need automated commission calculations, 1099 generation, compliance ready accounting, Guesty is in a class of its own there. 60 plus OTA channels through the Rentals United integration. If scale and financial compliance are your primary requirements, I would say the price for Guesty makes some sense.
Yeah, definitely. It can definitely ease some of the administrative pains there in those areas. But for solo hosts, Guesty Lite exists, but there are better options at that scale. This platform is really built for operators who are running a real business with real employees, and just makes a little bit more sense there.
Yeah, it does. So let's move on to our next platform, and this one plays a very different game.
100%. PriceLabs is the outlier in this conversation because it's doing two things simultaneously that no other platform is doing here. It is the dominant dynamic pricing tool powering 600,000 plus listings across 150 countries. And it owns Rental Scale Up, which is the most influential news and analysis platform across the entire STR industry.
Yeah, that combination is a flywheel. I mean, the media gives them unmatched visibility with serious operators. The tool converts that visibility that the tool converts that visibility into users, and the user data makes the tool smarter. It's a self-reinforcing loop.
Yeah, and little history, founded in 2014 in Chicago by Richie Kandawal, Anurag Verma, and Sana Hassan. I'm probably butchering those names, but
Mhm.
Kandawal's founding insight is still the core pitch. Pricing is the single biggest growth lever, and most operators are leaving 10 to 40% of the revenue on the table by using static pricing. The data supports this too. Dynamic pricing users outperform static pricing operators by 10 to 40%, depending on the market that they're in.
Yeah, and their technology is built around something called the hyperlocal pulse algorithm, HLP. It analyzes data from 350 similar listings within about 15 kilometers of your property. 4 years of historical booking data, forward-looking demand signals, seasonality, local events, your individual's listing performance history, and then the prices update daily and sync automatically across all of your channels.
Yeah, they make it super easy. And their 2026 product launches have been pretty aggressive too. On February 5th, the Listing Optimizer, which is AI that scans your Airbnb listing for content quality, photo issues, conversion problems, then generates improved titles, descriptions, keyword strategies, things like that. And so, one listing optimization expert called the most advanced tool in its category, which is, again, another big claim.
And not too long ago, this year, ready-to-view market dashboards, pre-built daily refreshing analytics for 200 plus short-term rental markets globally. So you're not just optimizing your listing, you're seeing exactly where your market is heading. And then AI insights on top of that, which translates complex pricing data into plain language recommendations. You don't need to be an analyst to use it. So that's a good thing. Ease is always great.
Yeah, we've talked. Yeah, 100%. And we've talked about on here too, just knowing your market and understanding. Any tool that can help you know your market and forecast your market is invaluable to hosts. Um, the pricing conversion here is stark. I would say PriceLabs charges 19.99 per listing per month in developed markets like the US, UK, Canada, Europe, Australia, or 9.99 elsewhere. You guys start to see volume discounts and kick in from the second listing. There's a alternative 1% of booking revenue model if you prefer that. Market dashboards are 9.99 a month, and the Revenue Estimator Pro they offer is it's $10 a month. They offer a 30-day free trial, no credit card required, so you can kind of test it out and see kind of what you like and what you don't, and what the value is to you.
Yeah, just dip your toes in the pool and see if you're willing to take a dip, you know. And then, comparing that to the alternatives, beyond pricing charges 1 to 2% of bookings. On listings earning close to $50,000 a year, PriceLab costs you about 240 bucks annually. A percentage-based tool costs you 500 to 1,000. So same function, but different math.
Yeah, and the ratings are really high out of all the platforms that we've looked at. About 4.9 out of 5 on Capterra from 241 reviews, 4.9 on Software Advice from just over 240 views. Revenue managers with 1,000 plus listings, we're calling it indispensable. And operators are consistently reporting 20 to 40% revenue increases. There was one specific case, I think, a host going from 250 a night to 650 a night during a demanded event, and so the algorithm catches things that you miss there, and it's like having another employee that's looking out for your best interest on your listings.
Yeah, and there's some complaints, right? And one of those is the no mobile app, which is a real gap if you're managing on the go, in today's world. And then the learning curve
Yep.
for the newbies, the beginners. This is not a set it and forget it tool. There's really no phone support, and it does require more active management than some alternative. So if you're not willing to actually use the data, you're not going to get the full return.
Yep. They're one of their big advantages. Their integration breadth is enormous. They've got over 150 plus integrations, 117 short-term rental PMS platforms, 70 hotel systems, direct connections to the big guys: Airbnb, VRBO, and Bookie.com. Major PMS partners that they have are the big ones that we're talking about: HostAway, Guesty, Hospitable, Hostfully, Lodgify, OwnerRes. The list goes on. And so PriceLabs is designed to sit on top of whatever you're already running and be a complement to success you're already having.
Yeah, and then back to the direct booking angle for PriceLab. It's a little indirect, but it's there. It's real. The platform doesn't have a built-in website builder or channel manager, but it supports direct bookings by syncing optimized pricing to your direct booking engine through your PMS. And critically, you can set your direct booking channel to price preferentially. So your website can always have a better rate than Airbnb. And that's foundational for talking direct bookings.
Yeah, absolutely. The listing optimizer is a feature that I like. It improves your ranking on the OTAs, which will directly drive traffic for you. And the market data tools help you kind of understand your overall competitive positioning and where you stand versus the market. So PriceLabs is a pricing layer, but for anyone building a serious direct booking business, it's a critical layer that needs to be in the stack and be leveraged.
And there was also something highlighted at last year's VRMA in 2025 back in Vegas that's worth understanding. Price Labs co-founder Richie Candelwall and Rental Scale founder Thibaut Mason did a deep dive on booking window compression. Average booking lead time fell from 19 days in 2022 to about 15 days this year for January stays. Last minute bookings, 0 to 7 days out. Now, account for 20%, 27% of all reservations.
Yeah, and if you stop and think about that, what that means for manual pricing, if you're adjusting your rates weekly, you're too slow there. And you're losing the last minute surge because you didn't price for it. Dynamic pricing tools like PriceLab exist precisely because the human brain can't process real time demand signals across the portfolio at that speed, even if we tried.
Yeah. So let's get practical here. If you're listening to this and trying to figure out which of these platforms make sense for your situation, then this segment is definitely for you.
Yeah, let's break it down by portfolio size because I think that's the cleanest lens here.
Yeah, I agree. Let's definitely do that. So let's start with solo host. Let's say 1 of 5 listings. PriceLab is your easiest setup here. 19.99 a month, 30-day free trial, no credit card. You can be up and running today. And then you get Guesty Lite at $27 a listing. Is a lightweight PMS option if you need more management features. And then HostAway's learning curve and quote-based pricing makes it less natural here. though it can work for hosts who know they're scaling.
Yeah, 100%. If we look at the pivot to the mid market, the 5 to 100 listings, this is where all three platforms compete hardest and where the choice genuinely gets somewhat difficult. HostAway's all-in-one approach with built-in dynamic pricing and the AI communication we talked about gives you really the most integrated single platform experience. Guesty Pro gives you a little bit deeper financial tools if that's what you value, the trust accounting, the owner management, but at a little bit of higher price. And then PriceLabs layered on top of either one gives you superior pricing granularity, so you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And here's the thing people don't always realize. These platforms are mutually exclusive. Many mid-market operators are running HostAway or Guesty as their PMS, and then running PriceLabs as their pricing engine on top. They're designed to work together. You don't have to just stick with one.
Yeah, no, have it your way. Take all that you need, and they'll be happy to take the money for it as well. So. Moving on to like the enterprise listings, the 100 plus, Guesty pulls ahead here. The native trust accounting, the SOC2 certification, the 60 plus channel integrations, their enterprise and security features. That's what this cohort needs at that size. HostAway is competitive and growing fast, but Guesty's decade of enterprise focus and 250 person engineering team gives it an edge that is at the very top of the market here. PriceLab serves everyone at this tier as the dedicated revenue management layer with portfolio analytics and cohort analysis and bulk management tools, which is what these larger scale operators are really looking for.
Yeah, and there's also the question of what you as an operator value most. If you value product, cohesion, and built-in technology, HostAway. If you value financial depth and enterprise compliance, I'll say Guesty. And if you value pricing precision and you want the best of breed tool that plugs into everything, I say stick with PriceLabs.
Totally agree. One observation from the conference circuit that really stuck with me is an industry veteran named Terry White, who runs Anna Marie Island Beach Rentals, said this. In 2017, property managers needed 19 different tools just to get through the day. Now they can have 80% of their tech stack covered between their PRS and their CRM. That consolidation trend is real and it's accelerating.
Yeah, no one wants a million, things to pull from. It can be overwhelming, especially in today's age, and the what we live in. Try to keep it simple and one that can help you achieve what you're trying to do. And
Yep.
that's actually a really healthy development for operators. Fewer integrations to maintain, fewer points of failure, less time managing tools, and more time managing the actual business.
Yeah, all right. We can't do an episode on these platforms without talking about what all this means for direct bookings because that's the game we're actually playing here.
Yeah, and here's the number that should make every short-term rental operator uncomfortable. Nearly two-thirds of operators say driving direct bookings is a top priority. But about 60% of operators still generate less than 25% of bookings through their direct channels. There's a huge gap between what people say they want and what they're actually trying to do.
Yeah, and website builder adoption sits at just 29% of operators, meaning that more than 70% of hosts don't even have a direct booking website. And if you're in that 70% right now, you're completely dependent on the OTAs completely. Every booking fee, every algorithm change, every policy shift, you absorb all of it and you're handcuffed into everything.
Yeah, you're stuck there, and so how do these three platforms connect to solving that problem?
Yeah, I say I'll start with HostAway. Which gives you the infrastructure. You get the website builder. Even the free version captures emails and the direct booking engine, the coupon system for repeat guests, the Google Vacation Rentals integration, and the AI SEO tools and the Booking Website Pro. And these are real tools for building a direct booking business, not just a backup channel.
Yeah, and shifting towards Guesty, they give you the deeper relationship layer through StaySense, regional destination sites that funnel travelers directly to properties, a built-in CRM so you can actually manage and market to your guest database, Klaviyo integration for email marketing at scale, If you're an enterprise operator, Guesty has the infrastructure to build a real direct booking program.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about PriceLabs and what it gives you the pricing strategy that makes your direct channel competitive. If your direct booking website has the same rates as Airbnb or even worse, maybe higher rates, guests are always going to book through Airbnb. But if you're pricing your direct channel preferentially, building that into your PriceLab setup, you're creating real incentive for guests to come back to you directly versus the OTAs.
Yeah, and here's the framework. I mean, I keep coming back to the PMS, HostAway or Guesty, is your home base. It's where your operations live. PriceLab is the revenue layer that makes sure you're priced correctly wherever your listings are. And your direct booking strategy, your website, your email list, your repeat guest program is the channel that compounds over time because the OTAs don't own those relationships. Remember, you do.
Yeah, 100%. And this is the whole point of what we're building at Direct Bookme. These platforms are all excellent at what they do, but none of them fundamentally changes the power dynamic that we see between hosts and OTAs on their own. That kind of shift requires, a real direct booking infrastructure, a website that converts, an email list that you actually own, and a repeat guest program that actually creates loyalty.
Yeah, those operators are winning in 2026. The ones that are not the ones with most properties. They're the ones who've paired an AI-powered PMS with best-in-class revenue management. And then they invest seriously in owning their guest relationships directly. The technology is there. The question is just whether you are actually using it.
Yeah, and the gap in this industry between operators who are using these tools strategically and operators who aren't, that gap is widening and it's widening fast.
Yeah, definitely is. Okay, so let's bring it home. Let's close this thing out for today. Three platforms, three different lanes. HostAway, the all-in-one PMS that just became the first unicorn in the space, built for growth-oriented mid-market operators who want enterprise AI without enterprise complexity. Guesty, the intelligent PMS with the deepest financial tools and the biggest engineering team, built for enterprise operators managing multiple owners and serious portfolios. And PriceLabs, the dominant revenue management platform with the highest user ratings in the industry, built for the operator who wants to stop leaving money on the table.
Yeah, and all three have a role to play in building a business that's less dependent on Airbnb and VRBO. These are not competing with direct bookings, they're the infrastructure underneath them.
Yeah, if you found this episode useful, we'd really appreciate a review wherever you listen. It takes 60 seconds and it helps us reach more hosts who are trying to build something sustainable.
And if you're ready to start seriously building your direct booking channel, that's what Direct Book Me is built for. Tools, strategy, community, all of it oriented around one goal, your guests booking directly with you.
You guys will find the link in the show notes. We'll catch you next week. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everyone.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, that's those. This was a good episode. All those